3, 2, 1.
Welcome to ASD Market Week's YouTube series, Retail Revelations Inside the Deal. This is your all-access pass to the world of buying and selling in the retail space. We're getting candid and having real conversations on what it takes to get the deal done. This is Retail Revelations Inside the Deal. Hello and welcome to Retail Revelations Inside the Deal. I'm your host, Stephanie Baring-Haley, and joining us today we have the CEO of the Bazaar, Brad Nardick. Brad, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're excited because we at ASD love family businesses, and I know you have a generational business. So I want to better understand you, your position at the company, and of course, for buyers who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about the Bazaar.
Sure. So my grandfather started the Bazaar in 1960. He was a World War II veteran, and he was working for a business in Chicago that sold things via magazine, which was like very common then, like pre-Amazon, right? So he was in charge of selling the end of season stock at like the after Christmas. Where do we move all this stuff? Saw that there was a market for that. Left the company, bought a little truck, and that was the birth of the Bazaar, and really just moving deals from retailers going out of business into flea markets, and then ran that kind of small business. He passed when my dad was pretty young. My dad took over, found his first name brand deal on like Nestle Nesquik, brought it into the warehouse, and he said it sold in 42 seconds. So from that point on, for the last 65 years now, we've partnered with name brand manufacturers to work with them on moving their excess inventory, partnering with them if they're clearing a warehouse or ending a product line, really wherever we can. And we've bought those lots outright, brought them into our warehouse in Chicago, and work with a about 900 store network of independent retailers, from big to small, to move that inventory into the excess market, or I guess the secondary retail market,
Okay.
or anything that isn't big box retail, I would say. So that is the Bazaar. That is the story of the Bazaar.
You are so modest. So I follow Michelle is on your sales team, and she got an assortment of Mr. Beast bars. And my kids love that candy bar for whatever it is. And she put that on there, and I go, if I'm a buyer, I would jump on it real quick. So you get really good brands, you get really
Yes.
good product. And I always tell buyers that don't be afraid if there's a closeout title to it or liquidated. So, how do you explain that to new buyers when you're saying, I've got great deals and this is the business model and it's good value items?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Beast was a huge hit for us, and we love Mr. Beast. So hopefully more of that to come.
Yeah.
Um, how do we explain? How do we explain like the value of it to new buyers? I think that it's the misperceptions are usually that it's like damaged or it's been used, and there is a whole market of that. That's not what we focus on. We focus on full case new inventory that really just didn't make it into like the primary retail channels for I don't know, any number of reasons. Um, and a lot of times, like, I think this whole business really runs on, I would say Walmart is at it's the center of the universe, and can we beat Walmart? Right. So, our job is to show people how, by working with us, you'll have a great margin structure at the stores, and you'll beat Walmart and the best discount retailers on earth. Like, they've demonstrated that to their customers over and over and over again. And that's why, off-price retail is doing so well right now, and is just probably the hottest sector in retail. But it's all about beating Walmart, and that's what we help retailers do.
And you have a good pulse on the market because I think everyone, with just the economy and just life in general, people are really looking at expenses and saying, how do I optimize the household? How do I get the goods into my house that so the kids are taken care of, the parents have what they need. So you don't just cater to one product segment. You've got quite the variety pack. So that merchandise that you pull in, is there a secret sauce or an art form to it, or is it just tried and true you guys have learned over the years and you just know what you're doing?
Okay, I really can't take a ton of credit for that part of
Yeah.
it. My dad was a buyer, like, to his core, is a buyer to his core, still, even though I'd say he's 70% retired, 30%, in it.
Oh, yeah.
And so he like loves the art of the deal, and then we were fortunate about a year ago to link up with one of the best buyers ever to be in this industry, Scott Feinstein, who leads our purchasing team and was one of the original players for Ollie's, who really is the best in the business, um, among a handful of others. But Scott has come in a year ago and really, I mean, brought a whole new mix of inventory and so much understanding of making deals happen. And he's been, like, just incredible merchant for the company. And I think in this business, like, everybody is really just trying to do the same thing, and the inventory is what drives the ship, as well as relationships. But in the end of the day, you got to have the right stuff, and so Scott's really brought a lot of discipline to the Bazaar, and sort of has recreated, like, the magic, I think, that my dad originally had, which was carrying product that is across a number of categories, like, really notable and reputable. Um, and that's everything from chemicals and cleaning supplies to housewares to toys. We work with um, probably 6 or 7 major categories of retail. So
Okay.
I don't even remember the question now, but
You
that's
actually answered it very well. So
okay.
that leads me to, you're the CEO of a company that was established by your grandfather, kind of, and then expanded by your dad. That's gotta be a lot of pressure. Did you know that you were always gonna stay within the family business, or was it something that I was just talking to Lewis over at Gold Medal International? He said, "Steph, I had to spread my wings and fly away from the coop for a little bit, and then I knew it was time to come back to the business with my new perspective and say, okay, I'm all in on the family business and we're gonna grow it." So how does that apply to you?
So, is that Louis Tehan? Is that who you're
Yeah.
talking? Yeah, I know him. Great guy. Um, how does it apply to me? I don't think I had any other options but to go to the family
Well,
business. I was I have an older sister who is like was like very like straight A's, like really good education, like cared a lot in school and did really well. And she's a publicist, like a media relations specialist, really.
oh,
But I was like a jock, and I was terrible at school. And so, honestly, I graduated from college. I was a wrestler in college. My girlfriend from college dumped me like a week after I got done, and I was living at home with my parents. And I was like, "Dad, I need a job."
ah,
And I've been there every day ever since. So, um, yeah, I think family business comes with a lot of different benefits and challenges, and there definitely is pressure to it when it's 6 decades of my family's history, and there's definitely a weight to that. The business has been really good to my family and to a lot of families for a long time. So family business is really beautiful blessing, and it's also a little bit of a burden too.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you're doing a good job. I see you incorporating routine items like giving turkeys during Thanksgiving to staff and really supporting them. It seems like your team's all in. So
In terms of a CEO position, I think that it's important to note that you never stop growing. And it looks like you are in leadership groups outside of your company and that you do some things at that end. So, how do you invest in yourself as a leader so that you can be the best for your position?
It's a great question. I have an executive coach I talk to once a week named Ben
Ooh.
Ritter, and that's been a huge blessing. I've worked with him for 5 years. Every Monday for 5 years, I've talked to him. So just having somebody in your corner who's like a great coach and to help me sort out kind of what's important and what's not. But I'm fortunate that I've made have a lot of good friends that I look up to, who are great leaders, who run great businesses. I love that the network I have in my life inherently is just great people who it's hard to not keep growing when you're around great people all the time. So um, that yeah, but I would say like a CEO, whatever the title, like some days I think I know what I'm doing, and a lot of days I don't think I know what I'm doing. So I don't know if much changed what before my father retired or after, but it's like you keep showing up and doing the next thing, and hopefully it works.
It's so funny because I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, you are who you hang with. So you need to protect your space and make sure it is the best vibe, the most supportive people that you can be around. And if little Timmy is a jerk, you stay away from little Timmy. He has no
Yes.
good thoughts for you.
Don't go by little Timmy. Agreed. That's
And
good
you
advice.
used to, I don't know if you're still in it, and I'm sorry, there's a lot of letters in this. Are you still involved with the YPO-WPO, world's largest network? What is that about?
Yeah, YPO is Young Presidents Organization.
Okay.
It's an amazing international network of business owners, business operators, investors, um, and I am in the Chicago chapter of YPO, and it's been a huge blessing. It's an amazing thing. So yeah, I'm in it. I'm probably not as active in it as maybe I could be, but yeah. And so again, I think it's the same thing. It's just having good people around and people who you could learn from and who are you know running and building good businesses.
It's so funny because you and I talked previously before we jumped on this, and we were talking about Seth Marks, and I interviewed him not too long ago, and he was talking about how the extreme value market is there's most resilient people within the industry, and I think that you understand that very well. So we're in 2025. How do you foresee this value world, wholesalers? Where do you see it going, and what's your advice for others in the business?
That's I wish
The
I had
hard
a
one.
I wish I could see into the future, I guess, and answer that. I mean, there's been a lot of shakeup in our industry for the past. COVID was such a disruptive event in the excess inventory business because you would go into a Target or a Walmart and the shelves would be empty, and companies like mine and a lot of other companies really only thrive when there's plenty of excess in the market. So um, I think that, coupled with rising interest rates, coupled with consumers having a lot of different options to shop a lot of different places today, and you have certain retailers that are they're 200 locations strong, or in the case of Big Lots 1,000 locations strong, and the reality is not every location is productive. And so I think for us alone in the past few years, Christmas tree shops was a great customer, Big Lots was a great customer, 99-cent stores was a great customer. um, there's probably a much longer list than that. So there's no shortage of great retailers that have fallen. I think that anybody who isn't thinking about what's next, it's there are certain companies that they rely entirely on, really like the big four in this industry, like Burlington, TJX, and Ollie's. Just incredible retailers, so successful. Their customers are obsessed with them. So our approach is to try and strengthen those relationships, and also try and look into what other distribution partnerships can we create, and what other retail verticals should we be thinking about. So it's been a hectic few years for sure, and you just hope that the great players remain standing, and that and with all that being said, like, I'm very optimistic, because I think people in general just appreciate a great deal, and that's true for any store you walk into.
I think anyone in the retail space knows it's in constant fluctuation and it's just a wild roller coaster and you have to hold on. And I think being part of somebody who puts on events, we're really excited because our whole job is just to be connectors. And if a business falls, it's a big corporation. We're very saddened by the experience, as we know our exhibitors. At the same time, we value that buyer, that individual. And it's like, we know you're going to go on to your next chapter and we hope that it's in the same space. And if so, there's a home over here and we want to have you back. But I think your team's doing it right. You're hitting the road. You're always trying to pursue new, which you have to diversify that portfolio. You have to make sure you have retailers mid-size, large, small mom and pop. So the minute you say you won't service the client, ah, you got to be a really good reason, because again, the different the mix, I think the safer you are as a company and the better the future.
That's why ASD matters, frankly. I've been going to the ASD show for a long time, and there's probably people who have been going for a way longer than me. But every year we meet another, whether it's international or whether it's like an independent ownership group. Like, that's why it's such an important show, because I always say it's like the prom of like the industry, and it's been such a mechanism to keep meeting more and more people, and people in Mexico, people in the UK, people who live in the islands or South America. It's just a great market for that. So, and I think that's a big part of like what you're saying. Like,
Mhm.
you got to keep adding names to the list.
Gotta hustle. You gotta hustle in this business, and relationships are key. Being front and center, articulating what you have within your product mix. It's so interesting because when you say prom, just for all you out there, we actually are sneakers, casual, super mellow, education done at the booth. But we're excited. It's like, we know as a company too that we have to expand our outreach. So we're working with major associations that are outside of the US territory and going to work with I think it's Mexico. We've got Antad and Niram. And these are big groups of retailers who had no idea that ASD existed. And we're partnering and bringing some of them in for future shows, which I think is important for, people that are part of the community. So we're excited about that.
All right,
Which
count,
leads me to
count us in
ASD Market Week. What can buyers expect at your booth? What are you doing that's exciting this March? And why should people come see you and your fabulous crew?
We've got the deals. That's why, plain and simple.
And really amazing staff.
We have a great team as well. We have a lot of industry experience. We have, I think the magic that my dad understood really well was like the whole business's relationships, and I would say that's like the biggest blessing of the Bazaar, is that we have a lot of good people on our team who all value that same thing. The golden rule: treat people how you want to be treated. And so anybody coming could expect that. I would say we've got amazing name brand inventory, and we have people who will genuinely get to know you and understand your business and your merchandising mix and what's important. And we've do that with 1,000 retailers a year. We do that with, 300-400 manufacturers a year. So happy to do it with whoever comes by.
We're going to push them your way. We love your team. They do good work. I do want to say, I want to get a little personal. Since you've been with us for so long, are there any fun stories that you can remember that have happened at the show that you would like to share?
Oh my God. I thought you were going to ask me something actually personal.
Oh, no.
I was worried. No, I think the only story that I always think of is so we have a guy who's our national sales manager, one of our leaders in sales named Bruce Shapiro. He's been in this industry for, he will tell you he's been in it for 50 years, which might be true. So we'll see. And every time we go to ASD, I tell him, I'm like, this is like, you're like the prom king, and this is your prom moment. Cause I always find it fun to just see, like, I'm lucky that I grew up in the business. And so there was a generation before me that has all these amazing relationships and has the reputation. And Bruce is one of those people where everyone comes to the booth, hugs, kisses. It's like a big family reunion. A very weird dysfunctional family, but so that's what comes to mind when I think about like going to the show and just yeah.
You know what we should do? We should totally get him a crown for this March and just put it on his head and like voila.
Nothing would make him happier. I guarantee that. Yeah.
Well, I'll work on that crown. I do have one more question before I let you leave.
Okay.
And I ask everyone because everyone has their own tips and tricks, but just life in general, how do you turn it off and sometimes just have you time and just keep everything sane in your life with work and just work-life balance? Everyone wants to know. What are your tricks?
Yeah, I don't turn it off. I think it's a mistake to turn. I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, Brad, no.
For me, I am recently married. I love spending time with my wife at home. We have an adorable 30-pound little Japanese hunting dog, a Shiba Inu, like the Dogecoin dog.
So cute.
So I love spending time with them and ideally outside. But other than that, honestly, I think that everybody has like a different tolerance for how much work they like to do or don't like to do. And I find for me personally, I like routine and I like being like, I find that over the weekend you take a break and then it's hard to get started again on Monday. And so I would rather kind of, keep it going. Yeah. But I love my family and I think, that's the best way to unwind.
It's so funny because I always think, there's holidays that come. We just had the holidays, and you're right. You get a week or 2 weeks off, and then all of a sudden it's bone crushing because all of a sudden everything just floods your way, and it's overwhelming and it's stressful. So I agree. When you're constant and you're organized and you have the routine, it just keeps you at a pace that you're ready to battle. You're ready to go, and you don't feel terrible.
Totally. Yeah. Bone crushing is a good. There.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun in Vegas in March for ASD Market Week. We're excited to have you all again. So thank you for joining us today and shedding light on the Bazaar, and we'll see you soon.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We want you to be a part of the show. So let us know who you want to see and what stories you want to hear. Leave us a comment and make sure you like and subscribe.